or for the beginning, I'd like you to write in 1 minute time, write the names of important people. It could be politicians, musicians, athletes, inventors, scientists, artists, and events which actually are connected to the 20th and 21st century. I want you to write at least six of them. If you remember more, great. If you remember less, okay, but write in your notebooks names that are connected with the 21st and 20th century. Hello again. Let's continue with our lesson connected with the passive voice and some famous and important inventions and events. Today's name of the lesson is Amy's History Test, and I want you to write the title down in your notebooks. I hope that you also prepared your books, pencils, erasers, and notebooks. Before we start, okay, now that I don't know what you have written in your notebooks, but let me give you some clues connected with important people. I hope that you recognize this guy. His name is Nikola Tesla. He is an important inventor for the 21st century, and he was born in Croatia, in Smiljan, in a small village in Lika. These two guys, I don't know whether you are familiar with them or not, but they are connected with the peace promotion or the peace movement. The first one, the left one, his name is Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was a Baptist priest, and he lived in the USA, and he's important and famous for his non-violent fight against segregation in the American southern states. He's also very famous for his speech, I Have a Dream speech, in which he promoted the tolerance and the equality of all black and white citizens. The person on the right hand side, the person or the man with the glasses, is also a very famous one. He's Mahatma Gandhi, and he's also very famous for his non-violent fight for peace and for tolerance and for independence of India from the British Empire. I don't know whether you know this guy, but he's also of Croatian roots. He was a famous basketball player, and his name is Dražen Petrović. And one event which also pictured and somehow made famous the last century was the first landing on the moon. I think, or I'm quite sure that you know who the first man on the moon was. It was an American astronaut, Neil Armstrong. Okay, now time for quiz. I'd like to do the quiz about important people and events to check your overall and general knowledge, to check your history and also some general knowledge as well. On this link, here is a word wall quiz with the name of 20th and 21st centuries fun quizzes and games. Please do it and send me a photo of the result of your result once you finish the quiz. After you have done the quiz, I'd like you to listen to the audio first, which you can do if you just click on this sign, loudspeaker sign, and then please check your knowledge of your word wall quiz. Also, you will find some more information which later on will be very useful for you for the next exercise. Please listen to it, and then you will do the exercises.
Lesson 2. Amy's
Okay, so this is the listening task 2. As you can see, this is the task from your books, task C, which you can find in your books on page 106. And your task is to read the sentences and correct the sentences in your notebooks. You don't have to write down these ones, but just write the number of the sentence and write the correct sentence the way you think is right. Let me just read the sentences for you. The Nobel Prize is awarded for sports achievements. 5 million people were killed in World War II. The space race was started by the Americans. Martin Luther King was killed in Washington, D.C. in 1968. The roots of hip-hop are found in Latin American music. The Band-Aid project was started by Bono Vox of U2. The Berlin Wall was built by Soviet-controlled East Germany to stop people traveling from the east to the west. And the last sentence, the euro was introduced by the EU at the end of the 20th century. Okay, now let's write it. If you feel the need, or if you feel necessary that you listen to the audio once again, please, you are quite free to do so. You can listen to it several times, so whatever is fine with you is also okay. Okay, now let's revise what we said about the passive voice. As I can see from your submitted tasks, you made some mistakes dealing with the transformation from the active to the passive, but otherwise when you had the passive sentences already written and you just had to fill in the either past or present of the verb to be and the main verb, this was quite well. And I have to congratulate you on that. So once again, if we have passive or if we have an active sentence like this one here, Mary wrote a letter. I will switch now to creation because last time I forgot to do it in creation also, the explanation of grammar. Znači, ako imamo rečenicu u aktivu, kao što je Mary wrote a letter, transformaciju u pasiv ćete obaviti u ona 3 osnovna koraka. Znači, prvi je da pronađemo objekt, to je letter u ovom našem slučaju, stavimo ga na subjektno mjesto, to znači a letter će nam biti na početku pasivne rečenice. Drugi korak je, pogledamo ovaj glagol, znači wrote, i tu u tom kod ovoga wrote, znači trebamo zapravo prepoznati o kojem se glagolskom vremenu radi. I u to vrijeme staviti glagol to be. Znači ovaj wrote je past simple tense, u to vrijeme stavljamo glagol be, što znači ako imamo a letter, bit će nam was, nećemo staviti were, zato što je it, ali neživo. I zatim, budući da je ovo stvarno jednostavna rečenica i znamo ko je subjekt, odnosno čini vršilac radnje, pišemo by Mary. So, a letter was written by Mary. This is a passive sentence. Now, and this is a passive sentence in past simple tense. How would we make it in a question? Kako bi napravili od ove rečenice upitnu rečenicu? Sjetite se dakle da ono što smo stalno ponavljali kod pretvaranja rečenice u upitnu rečenicu je ono mijenjanje mjesta pomoćnog glagola i subjekta. Znači, ništa više nego ovaj was prebacimo znači ispred letter i to je naša upitna rečenica za pasiv. If it's a yes no question, naravno ako je riječ o da ne pitanju. Ako je riječ o nekakvom upitnoj rečenici u kojoj počinju sa upitnom riječi, u tom slučaju pišete prvu upitnu riječ i opet zamijenimo mjesto pomoćnom glagolu, dakle ovom to be, i subjektu, u ovom slučaju letter. So, How would we make a question here? If it's a yes-no question, we should make, or we would make, was the letter written by Mary? The answer would be yes, it was, or no, it wasn't. If it's a WH question, here we can write who was the letter written by, znači tko je napisao to pismo, and what was written by Mary, što je bilo napisano od strane Mary. A letter, right, okay. That's one thing. Now let's go to active sentence. They award the Nobel Prize every year. Here we have the active sentence which is in present simple. Znači ova rečenica je aktivna rečenica i ona je u present simple tense. Kako ćemo napraviti pasivnu rečenicu? Evo probajte sami. The Nobel Prize is the first step, znači Nobel Prize bi bio prvi korak, odlučili smo se i našli smo objekt. Award je present simple, rekla sam, onda pišemo glagol be u present, to znači am, are ili is. Nobel Prize će biti is, and then we put awarded, znači treći korak je past participle od glagola glavnog glagola koji se nalazi u aktivnoj rečenici. Award je pravilan glagol, znači dodajemo nastavak ed. Zaboravila sam reći kod wrote. Wrote je nepravilan, pa znači piše njegova treća kolona, on je written. Okay, so our passive sentence is like this. Nobel Prize is awarded every year. Znači ovo je naša pasivna rečenica i naravno u present simple pasivu. Ne pišemo ovoj ideji, ne pišemo by them ili nešto slično. Zašto? Zato što je ovo zaista prava rečenica u kojoj nam nije bitan subjekt, odnosno vršilac radnje. Znači on ili se ne zna, ili nije bitan, ili nam je jednostavno manje važno tko vrši, nego nam je bitnije nad čim se vrši ta radnja, odnosno tko trpi tu radnju. The question here, let's make it a question. So the same thing happens actually in the passive sentence, no matter whether it is a present or past. So we say when is the Nobel Prize awarded, or if it's yes/no question, we put or we write is the Nobel Prize awarded every year. So the possible answer could be yes it was or no it wasn't. Znači ako govorimo o upitnoj rečenici, opet govorimo o zamjeni mjesta subjekta i pomoćnog glagola. U ovom slučaju ovo je oblik is. Znači, ako govorimo o pasivu, mi upitni oblik zapravo radimo i kombiniramo svaki puta sa pomoćnim glagolom to be, odnosno određenim oblikom pomoćnog glagola to be. Budući da je to pomoćni glagol nama za pasiv, kao što je ovdje was ili ovdje is, i kasnije kad budemo radili future passive. Okay? So now I want you to copy this slide in your notebooks. This is actually the rule how to make a question in the passive voice. And as you can see, we switch the places of the verb to be and the subject of the sentence. So we have what is the Nobel Prize funded by? Is the euro used as a currency in Croatia? When was the hip hop first introduced? So it doesn't matter whether it is past simple or present simple passive. The questions are made in the same way by switching the places of the verb or replacing the verb to be with the subject of the passive sentence. Okay. Now it's your turn. Here on this link, which you can see on this slide, here is a wiser quiz. You can, if it's necessary, I think that it is not necessary because you have here the direct link. But if it's necessary, you should enter the quiz with the pin, which is here, HBP 1B1. and with, of course, with your full name and surname, so that I can see your progress and can give you points. One more thing that you should bear in mind is that the quiz has a deadline till April the 20th in 2020 until 7 p.m. And also it has a limited time for doing the quiz. There are 6 sentences only, and I'd like you to do them in 23 minutes. I think it is more than enough, and I hope, or I'm quite sure that you will do it without any pain. The next thing that I want you to discuss is the definite, or the use of definite article the with proper nouns. Proper nouns could be are translated into Croatian vlastite imenice. We talked about definite article and use of definite article the with some nouns and with some in some cases, but let's look at it into a more specific way. Here on the left hand side you can see where and in what cases we use the definite article the. And we also use the no article. This is, if you remember the 6th and the 5th grade when I talked to you about it, I mentioned that the British grammarians actually count the zero article as no, or no article as one of the articles. Znači, kao što sam već spomenula ili rekla, u 5. i 6. razredu gramatičari osim što razlikuju određeni član d, neodređeni član odnosno n, razlikuju i takozvani zero ili no article, znači nulti član, u kojem znači uz određene riječi, odnosno nazive ili vlastite imena, imenica ne ide nikakav član. So we are going to discuss these things, and if you look at this part at this slide, no article is used with the names of towns, cities, countries, states, continents, months, holidays, all sorts of things, but also with organizations, historical periods, events, and so on. But there are some exceptions to the rules. For example, with the countries that denote the plural, or with the countries that have the of phrase, the Republic of China or the Soviet Union, we have here the. But if we have Russia, if we have Congo, if we have China, then we use no article at all. Znači, ukoliko govorimo o riječima, odnosno vlastitim imenima ili nazivima država, kontinenata, nazivima gradova, ovih nekakvih blagdana, mjeseca i tako dalje, u tom slučaju ne koristimo nikakav član. Moramo jedino paziti da postoje razne iznimke od pravila, što znači da ako je država ima u sebi takozvanu of frazu, znači imamo u sebi, odnosno ima u svom nazivu of, recimo the Republic or the People's Republic of China, the People's Republic of China, znači Narodna Republika Kina, u tom slučaju pišemo the. Ako govorimo recimo Demokratska republika ili država ili nešto, u tom slučaju isto pišemo of. Znači kada imamo nešto pobliže označavajuće, pobliže definirajuće, u tom slučaju pišemo the. Also, if you have the United States of America, like we said, of phrase, then we use the. Jedan još jedini izuzetak od pravila je ime grada Haag, znači The Hague je i The Netherlands kad govorimo, znači ime same države ima množinu, prema tome u tom slučaju pišemo the. So, as you can see here in B part, we use the definite article with the names of towns, cities, countries, states, and continents. So, is it we use or don't use? If you look here in this list, so we don't use the definite article with the names of towns, cities, Washington DC, Zagreb, Croatia, Italy, Sweden, Tennessee, Germany, Africa, Australia, all sorts, Christmas, New Year, and so on, February, March, and so on. We don't use the definite article. With the names of months and holidays, like we said, we also don't use the definite article. And here, if you see on the left-hand side, the Science Museum, the European Parliament, the Nobel Prize, the European Union, the 1970s. Znači, ako govorimo o godinama, znači ne samo jednu godinu, recimo 1979, u tom slučaju 1979. nema nikakvog člana. Međutim, ako govorimo 70. 90. prošlog stoljeća ili ne znam 20. ili nešto, u tom slučaju in that case we use the definite article the. U tom slučaju, dakle, pišete the. Kako ćete prepoznati da je riječ o tim zbirnim, odnosno više godina, po ovom malom s koji se nalazi iza ovakvog natpisa, odnosno ovakvog izraza. Kao što sam već rekla, the United States of America, ako imamo dakle ovu of frazu, zapamtite to, uvijek pišemo the. So we don't use the definite article, we use the definite article with the nationality adjectives referring to groups of people, museums, institutions, organizations, the UNICEF, right, the NATO, and so on, prizes, the Oscar, and historical periods or events. But there is one exception, and this is World War II, World War I. Ok, znači jedan jedini iznimka od pravila. To je drugi svjetski rat, prvi svjetski rat, znači u tom slučaju uz ovu riječ, odnosno uz ovu frazu ne pišemo nikakav član. Dok u sve ostale, dakle, nacionalnosti, odnosno pridjeve koji govorimo o posvojenim pridjevima za grupe ljudi, u tom slučaju pišemo the. Ista stvar je za nazive muzeja, nekakvih institucija, organizacija, nagrada, priznanja, nekakvih povijesnih razdoblja i slično. There are also some other uses of definite article, which you can see here down below. Look at the other examples. For example, with sports and activities, we don't use the. For seasons, we don't use the, right? We say in summer, in winter, and so on. I like tennis, I play volleyball, and so on. Football is my favorite sport. Buildings when referring to their purpose. Tu sad trebamo napomenuti, znači ako govorimo o imena zgrada, recimo znači ime koje označava nekakvu instituciju, dakle ne samu zgradu, nego recimo riječ kao što je prison ili hospital, bolnica ili škola. Ako ta škola ne označava samu zgradu u tom nego čisto znači nekakvo obrazovanje, odnosno školovanje ili poslanje ili poslali su ga u zatvor ili služi u zatvoru od te godine ili 20 godina ili otišao je u bolnicu u smislu da je otišao znači na liječenje, u tom slučaju nemamo nikakvog člana, znači nemamo the. From prison, he was released from prison, I drove you to hospital, we went to school, and so on. But if we refer to buildings, Znači, ali ako u tom slučaju uz ove imenice referiramo se na same zgrade, znači baš ono što one zapravo fizički predstavljaju, u tom slučaju kažemo i pišemo the prison. The prison is opposite the bank. Where is the hospital? I can't find it. Znači, gdje se nalazi bolnica? Do you see our school? Or the school is situated in the part of Osijek called Jug 2. Znači, škola je smještena tamo i tamo. With superlatives of adjectives, znači superlative pridjeva, kao što sam već prije govorila, ide d, obavezno, uz redne brojeve također pišemo d, obavezno bez iznimke. If it's something unique in a particular context, znači ako govorimo o nečem što je jedno jedino te vrste, znači ne postoji ništa drugo na svijetu, znači znamo o čemu pričamo, o kome se radi, u tom slučaju pišemo d. Dakle, ako kažem glavni grad, znači jedan jedini glavni grad Hrvatske ili bilo koje države, znači u tom slučaju the capital. Zagreb is the capital of Croatia, right? So we have Zagreb, Zagreb imamo ime, znači tu ide nikakav, nema člana, zato što je riječ o imenu grada, imamo Croatia, nemamo nikakav član jer je ime države. Ali imamo the capital, which is something unique in a particular context. The earth, the government, vlada. The government suggested or proposed new laws. Znači, vlada je predložila nove zakone ili izmjene novih zakona. Ako govorimo o zemlji, znači mislimo na planetu Zemlju, ja? Ili svijet općenito. So we put the definite article, the. If it's something defined by a prepositional phrase, for example, the beginning of World War II, the future of black people, the roots of hip-hop. Ovo zapamtite, ovo je najbolje moguće pravilo. Dakle, fraza, takozvana off fraza, kad god imate off frazu, u tom slučaju ispred pišete d. Zašto? Zapravo zato što pobliže označavate o čemu, o kome se radi. Znači, ovo je početak Drugog svjetskog rata. Znači, ne nešto, bilo kakav početak ili nešto drugo. Budućnost crnaca i tako dalje. So, that's about the definite article. Let's go to the indefinite article. As you know, there are actually two types or two forms of indefinite article. In both cases, they describe one. Znači, imamo dvije varijante, odnosno dvije verzije. Jedan je e ili n. N, dakle, koristimo koliko je riječ počinje samoglasnikom. An apple, an umbrella, but, a boat, a book, a pencil, and so on. A test. Now here, we use the indefinite article, a or an, when we refer to people's jobs. If you remember the 5th grade, ako se sjećate 5. razreda, u tom slučaju smo rekli my mom is a teacher. She is a baker. He is an actor. And so on. Znači uz imena, odnosno nazive zanimanja, koristimo a ili n. Isto tako, when we introduce places, people, animals, things, and other words, categorizing them in some way. In that way, we also use a or an. For example, znači šta bi to značilo? Koliko zapravo uvodimo bilo imena ljudi, životinja, stvari, mjesta i tako dalje. Pobliže ih označavajući, odnosno govorimo znači čisto kao kategoriju da je nešto pripada nekoj kategoriji, u tom slučaju koristimo a ili n. Šta to znači? Recimo, Vukovar is a Croatian city. Znači govorimo da je on kategorija hrvatskih gradova. Znači Vukovar je hrvatski grad, neki hrvatski grad. Mickey Mouse is a cartoon character. Znači što je Mickey Mouse? Mickey Mouse je lik iz crtanog. In that case, we use a or an. And on the other hand, we do not use the indefinite article a or an with abstract nouns, znači uz nekakve abstraktne imenice. Ne koristimo nikada neodređeni član. Šta to znači? Recimo, riječi, abstraktne imenice kao što su racism, non-violence, independence, music, art, peace, love, and so on, nemaju ispred sebe ili n. Zašto? Zato što na jednostavan način, vrlo jednostavan razlog je zato što zapravo nemaju niti množinu. Ne možemo reći pieces, ne možemo reći sciences, ne možemo reći racisms, and so on. Znači, one na taj način, upravo iz tog razloga, ne mogu ni biti, imati ispred sebe ili n. If you look at the last part, indefinite and definite article, when to use definite and when to use indefinite article. And if you remember the 5th and the 6th grade, you will, I hope that you will remember that you use indefinite article a or an if something is mentioned for the first time. If you talk about something for the first time. Znači, ako je riječ o imenici koja je brojiva, i spominjete ju prvi puta, sjećate se 5. i 6. razreda, govorili smo da u tom slučaju koristimo a ili n. Svaki daljnji put, znači spominjanja te imenice, koristite d. Šta to znači? Recimo, evo pišem vam i na slajdu. The Warsaw Pact was a military treaty which was formed by the Soviet Union. Znači, Varšavski pakt bio je vojni savez kojeg je potakao Sovjetski savez. Sad, sljedeća rečenica, znači sad već znamo o kojem je to sporazumu, odnosno paktu riječ. The treaty was a reaction to the forming of NATO in 1949. Znači, taj savez je bio zapravo reakcija na stvaranje NATO-a 1949. Dakle, if we use something for the first, if we talk about something for the first time, and it has a plural, if it's a countable noun, we use the indefinite article, a or an. If, however, we talk about it for the second, third, fourth, fifth, 50th time, then we use the definite article, the. Okay, and the last part and the last task for you is to do the word wall quiz, which is connected with sorting the words into several groups concerning whether you put the definite article in front of them or a zero article. And in future lessons, I will give you some more exercises dealing also with all three of them: zero article, definite article, and indefinite article. This is not a very difficult part of grammar. However, you need to learn it by heart. You need to learn the rules, what and when to use with certain article. Also be careful about the quizzes that have a deadline. All quizzes have now the deadline until Monday, the 20th of April, until 7 p.m. After that, you won't be able to get into the quiz and do the quiz. If you would like to do it later on, then I'll give you, you must ask me for permission. For your homework, of course, I'd like you to write everything what I told you to, or what I instructed you to do, and send me the photos of the written tasks in the chat part of the Teams platform. And submission date is Friday, the 17th of April till 7 p.m. Do the passive voice questions, do the quiz knowledge, correct the sentences in your notebooks, and do these two quizzes. Okay, in case you have any questions, if there are some things left unexplained, or if you are not certain about certain things, feel free to ask and to write in the chat part, whatever, whenever you like.